Hey guys, it's been a while since I did an update on the Brunswick 5KR. Well, that's because I didn't want to bore you with all the details of removing the rust and using the Bondo glazing to fill in the pits, and then the primer and sanding and more primer, and then the brown coat of paint and more sanding, and finally the clear coat. But it's finally done. I'm happy with the way it turned out. So the final color I went with was Rust-Oleum Gloss Leather Brown, which is a really good color match for the original. But the gloss just wasn't right, so the final coat was a clear coat of satin, which gave it this nice look. Alright, so now I can finally start putting this back together. In addition to removing the filter choke and capacitor block, I also removed as much of the other hardware as I could, and I cleaned it up. I stripped rust off and removed old flux and so on. Some of the screws didn't seem worth saving, so they're just so corroded and chewed up, so I got some new screws. Number 6-32s are the right size. Also replaced all the grommets. These 3/8 inch grommets turned out to be a really good fit. So like 4 along the back here where this terminal strip goes back on. These 2 holes are for the speaker jacks, so they don't get grommets. These fit in like so. The switch that was giving me trouble earlier, the 105 or 125 volt switch, I was able to get it working. I worked it back and forth a bunch of times and sprayed some contact cleaner down in there, and it makes pretty reliable contact now, so I'm going to reinstall that. So next up I'll be installing these, or reinstalling these. Need to just make sure I got the right orientation. This could either fit in this way or this way. I took plenty of reference photos so I know which way these are supposed to go back in, and then I'll bend over the tabs. Probably some paint will flake off when I do that, but it's underneath, and I can just take a paintbrush and dab some more paint back on to protect it from rusting. And then of course I need to wire them back in. Again, I took plenty of reference photos, and I've got my schematics. Also made a bit of progress on the other chassis. I got the rust off most of it and got a coat of primer on there. I'll sand this down, and I'll have to mask off all these tube sockets, and then I'll spray this with that same leather brown paint. And yeah, then I'll start putting this back together, and hopefully before too long I can try powering this setup.